resolute of heart, make firm thy mind. The tongue of a man is the rudder of the boat, but the Lord of all is its pilot. Cast not thy heart after riches. There's no ignoring fate and destiny. Place not thy thoughts on things outside. Every man is destined for his hour.
On feeling goods where all of your cash went. Not chakra alignment or inward refinement. Trying to find one word to describe men. Better yet, can one consciousness unify them? Pondering on these questions is where my time spent. Creative, hold on to your dreams. Keys open doors. Since you can't always choose circumstances, make sure to choose your thoughts wisely. Choose advancement. Work towards the future. Now's your chance, kid. Accept responsibility. Avoid resentment. Actions always take root from what you think about. Things ain't going your way, it ain't hard to figure out. Why? Why? Ask why. Ain't gotta tell you, it's right in front of your eyes. So in following these principles, you'll find along the road you're the only one responsible for your soul. It's no coincidence. Take control of your life, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. You take control, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Yeah, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Nah, it's no coincidence.
Old shells are highly prized. And this one is occupied by a sarcastic fringe.
Moment because I never thought this day would ever happen. I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. You know, if I help him, he's gonna help me.
How do you give you a phone?
You sign up if you on food stamps, you on Social Security, you got low income, you disability.
Why are you here?
To get some money.
What kind of money?
Obama money.
Where's it coming from?
Obama.
And where did Obama get it?
I don't know. His stash. I don't know. I don't know where he got it from. But he giving it to us to help us. We love him. That's why we voted for him.
I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage.
Did Obama pay for your mortgage? And did he pay for your gas?
Absolutely not. Mortgage got worse and prices got higher. During that time, we needed a change, but a change for the better, not for the worse. He had a very big voice, just like the Wizard of Oz. The wizard with this little teeny, tiny man. And I think it's the same thing with Obama, man behind the curtain. Not who we thought or expected him to be. I was Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. That's how I feel. I was Dorothy. I started getting a little bit more educated about politics and reading more. What I learned is never trust the wizard. It's within ourselves to have the determination, the courage.
Trump's policies would throw us into a recession, the last thing we need.
Some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have?
The Dow, well, it's gone up for 8 straight sessions, and it will go up, at least at the opening bell, again today.
Companies are hiring. We know layoffs are down and companies are hiring.
Unemployment for African Americans fell to a new low of 5.9%. Female job seekers, a low as well, 3.4%.
Jobless claims dropping to 3.8%. In fact, we've only seen a number that low since 1969.
Even the New York Times has to admit it. Check out this report. We ran out of words to describe how good the jobs numbers are.
You are now entering another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of critical thinking. a journey to a wondrous land with boundaries that of clarification. Your next stop, the Sanity Zone. All right. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH, LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. I'm a little late, Friday, it is around Friday, 12 o'clock. You're listening to Breaking News, a little late, coming off of Pundits, and then we have all this conversation that we have, off air, which gets interesting, gets a little heated sometimes, but fun, always fun. I love debating. I love having people actually consistently tell me what I should be thinking, what I should be feeling, because only their point of view is the way you should look at things, right? Or at least, that's how some people feel, that there's always only one way to look at things, and if you don't feel the same way, and now I'm talking about Democrats, right? If you don't feel the way the Democrats feel, so if you don't feel you should violate the border by letting illegals just walk through that border, if you feel you want to protect the border, if you want to build that wall, you're a bad guy, because you don't think like they do, because you don't feel that, you don't feel that the law is worth nothing like a Democrat does, right? The Democrats don't care about laws. They don't care about due process. They don't care about anything. And we see that happening right now with this Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, who has an exceptional career, right? Has an exceptional career, a smart student here from Yale, right? And he has a lot of people who have talked very good about the guy, right? Supposedly he's an exceptional person, an exceptional judge, a constitutionalist, right? But then you have one person show up, a person who's against Trump, a person who signed a petition against Trump's border wall, a person who seems to be very political. And the reason I say that is because now Blasey Ford, I forgot her first name, so let's go with, I think it's Dr. Blasey Ford. Now she's hiring all of the Clinton consultants. Right now she has the Clinton people around her. Right? So it went from an accusation that she didn't remember the time, she didn't remember the day, she didn't remember the year, she didn't remember how she got to a party, she didn't remember how she got home from the party. So an accusation based on very loose facts, according to her, if you want to call her opinion fact. Right? So she has very little she remembers. But now, but she remembers him, she says. And now you look at the Democrats and the media who have changed it to, he is a basically a sex offender. He tried to rape her. She never said he tried to rape her. She says she feared that it would go a certain place, which it never did, right? But he says it never happened. He says he was never at that party. She doesn't even know where the party was. Now, the people she's put in the room, or the person she's put in the room, because her story has changed. When she's told her psychologist or psychiatrist, don't know which one, it makes a difference, but don't know which one. When she told her therapist that something happened to her when she was young. She said there were 4 people in the room. Now she switched it to 2 people. Now, she's saying that the therapist made a mistake. Now, what? Now, the therapist's job is to actually write down what you say, right? So, I'm to believe that this person who can't remember the year, the date, the location, I'm supposed to believe that it's the therapist's problem that her story doesn't match now? I don't think so. She can't remember anything. Right? So it's getting ridiculous, accusing this guy, not her, but the Democrats and the media accusing the guy of attempted rape. She never said that. But it is now a political issue, a political ball that's being tossed around. Right? Let's play with the with the articles and the news that's been going on. I want to play a clip. Let's hope it works. Let's play a clip of all the Democrats and their opinions on this matter. Right? Their opinions. That it, you know, because they think their opinions matter. And I do have a show, so let's play this clip.
Let me just say right at the outset, I believe Dr. Ford, I believe the survivor here. There's every reason to believe her. She has come forward
This is Senator Blumenthal.
and bravely, knowing that she would face a nightmare of hostile and vicious scrutiny and challenge.
We should not be rushing to judgment with a sham hearing on Monday.
This is Senator
There are
Kirsten
corroborating
Gillibrand.
witnesses, and they too must be called, including Mark Judge, who was allegedly in the room, and the therapist who counseled Dr. Blasey Ford in 2012, and other expert witnesses who would both be an expert in sexual assault and crimes, trauma, and PTSD associated with the survivor being attacked. It is shameful that the Senate Judiciary Committee plans on repeating the ugly piece of history by doing to Dr. Blasey Ford exactly what they did to Anita Hill by putting her on the stand alone. What are they afraid of getting? Are they afraid of the truth?
This rush job to bring
Senator Chris
a
Murphy.
hearing with very few witnesses and no independent determination of fact is an insult to the American people.
The Republican leadership has completely
Blumenthal.
disrespected this survivor.
All right, let's stop it right there. Because they're talking about facts that don't exist. They're talking about expert witnesses who are experts on what? Sexual trauma. Right? So they're going to give you a whole bunch of facts of what happened to other people because she can't remember. And she didn't go through any sexual trauma because nothing happened. Right? But I want to talk about Mr. Blumenthal, right? Because Senator Blumenthal has said that Kavanaugh should withdraw. Kavanaugh should just back out of the nomination. Because Blumenthal believes the accuser. The accuser who doesn't remember anything. So Blumenthal is questioning the integrity of Judge Kavanaugh, who has a lot of people backing him. A lot of people who are willing to testify for him. Blumenthal is questioning the integrity of someone else, someone who actually has a wonderful story coming here from Yale and everything. He doesn't have anybody else coming out against him. Now, Blumenthal, my problem is Blumenthal. I think before we should consider Kavanaugh withdrawing from anything, that Blumenthal should quit, should withdraw from his position because of all the lies he told. So before Richard Blumenthal, good old Dick Blumenthal, before he starts questioning the integrity of anyone else, he should self-correct and leave his position. Dick Blumenthal should leave his position. If he wants to question people's integrity, he should start with himself and leave. All right, I'm going to keep playing this clip. Let's continue.
We have summoned her to a hearing without consulting her as to the date.
Now keep in mind, this is, I'm sorry for interrupting it, but this is just insane, right? At first, her lawyers came out and said she was ready to talk to Congress. She was willing to talk to Congress. And here's the problem. Because they never expected for the Republicans to take them up on that offer. This is all a political game. The Democrats don't care. They don't care about what happened to this lady. They're using her. They're using her as a political football, and they're kicking her around. And they could care less what happens to her afterwards. They could care less. She was willing to testify, and now Chuck Schumer goes out for 2 days and starts talking about there should be an investigation, and then all of a sudden, this lady gets a team of Democrat operatives now surrounding her, and she changes her story that now she needs an investigation, an FBI investigation, which is not part of their jurisdiction. If she wants an investigation, she should go back to the town if she remembers it. If she remembers where she comes from, she should go back there and file charges there. File charges on what? Because she doesn't remember anything? And it's he said, she said? This is to the point of ridiculousness, right? So now she won't testify, and her lawyers came out with some new demands. Now picture this. An accuser who hasn't proved anything wants to make demands to Congress how she's willing to speak. So she's not going to show up unless he's not in the room, which is fine if she doesn't want to talk in front of him, even though I'm a firm believer that you should be able to look your accuser in the face and challenge that accuser. But, okay, let's leave him out the room. I'm willing for. But now she wants him to testify first, and then she'll testify. So wait a minute. So you're accusing him, but he's not supposed to hear your accusations on the record? You're accusing him, but you don't want to testify on the record? Under oath before he goes up and defends himself? So what is he defending himself on? He already said it never happened. So, let's continue the clip, and hopefully I won't interrupt again, but maybe.
Without even apparently contacting her directly, she may well have learned about it through the press.
Scheduling a hearing for Monday, a week from when Dr. Ford made her accusations public, is a shameful attempt to jam this through without giving any.
It's a shameful attempt to jam this through, except that the Democrats knew about it in July. Okay, before the hearings. Before the hearings. So he went in front of the Senate and had over 30 hours of hearings, and they never brought this question up. He had personal interviews with these senators, including Dianne Feinstein, who's the one who came out with the letter that this lady had written. So including Dianne Feinstein, he had personal interviews with her. He had phone interviews with her, and she never brought it up. The Democrats never brought it up. So if they would have brought it up in July when they got it, there would have been enough time to investigate something. That's why they're bringing it up now. It's a political move to actually delay the hearings or to not have the hearings at all this year. It's a game. They're using the Me Too movement and the abuse of women as a ploy, as a political game.
Anyone the time they need to investigate and put together the questions that need to be asked. This is what happened in 1991 when the Senate got information in the middle of a process, a hearing was jammed.
Don't let them lie to you. This is not what happened in 1991. Okay? This lady can't I'm surprised she remembers her name. She can't remember anything. There are no facts. There's nothing for the FBI to chase down. She doesn't remember.
In just days later, and you know what? I hoped we could do better 27 years later. Women are watching. We are not going to allow that to happen again.
The men in this country and the men in this committee, and many of them, believe me, because we all signed on to this letter to demand an FBI investigation, but really, guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country, and I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. Do the right thing.
That's, that was Hirano. That's the senator from Hawaii. Right? Men in this country should shut up and step up. Okay, step up to what? An accusation with no proof? Are you kidding me? That's the most ridiculous statement. Men should shut up and step up. Step up for what? I'm willing to step up for every right under the sun for women. But to step up to an accusation, these people just want this accusation to have all the power in the world. And because somebody makes an accusation, your life can't continue. This is ridiculousness. And just like we were having, I was having a conversation with the people from Pundits, and we were talking about the anonymous email, and the anonymous op-ed that was in the New York Times, and how the New York Times set a precedent. People say, well, how can you take an anonymous email? Well, because the New York Times set a precedent. And this is what men and women need to realize. You don't want to set a precedent where it says an accuser has all the power just because they accuse. Everybody goes, oh, we're protecting women. Let me tell you, there's women out there all over the place who are mothers to men, who are mothers to boys. And you don't want your boys, your children, their lives, their careers to be in jeopardy because of a false accusation. You always want to be able to challenge accusations. There's a presumption of innocence in this country. And we're willing now to throw it out the window over an accusation that's not based in much fact. That's not based in anything, because the accuser cannot remember anything. All right, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
You got the thing that I want. It's the way that you move it, and don't you stop what you're doing, 'cause I I love watching how you move to the beat, the beat, the beat. I can't help it but to stare. Got the temperature rising up in here. And this beautiful woman everywhere. But you're the only one that sees. I gotta get you alone. Just find a place we can go. And I don't care who knows. 'Cause I gotta get you close to me. I gotta get you alone. Just find a place we can go. And I don't care who knows. 'Cause I gotta get you close to me. You got that thing that I need. And you're making it hard for me to breathe. There's a fire burning deep inside of me. Burning hotter as you move to the beat, the beat, the beat. I can't help it but to stare. Got the temperature rising up in here. And this beautiful woman everywhere. But you're the only one that I see, I see. Gotta get you close to me. Gotta get you close to me. I gotta get you close to me. Gotta get you close to me. I gotta get you close to me. 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 I gotta get you alone. Just find a place we can go. And I don't care who knows. 'Cause I gotta get you close to me. I gotta get you alone. Just find a place we can go. And I don't care who knows. 'Cause I gotta get you close to me. I gotta get you alone. Just find a place we can go. And I don't care who knows. 'Cause I gotta get you close to me. I gotta get you alone. Just find a place we can go. And I don't care who knows. 'Cause I gotta get you close to me.
Congressman Keith Ellison, deputy chairman of the Democratic National Committee and a candidate for Minnesota Attorney General, has denied allegations that he abused his ex-girlfriend. Tonight, Karen Monahan is speaking on camera for the first time about an incident she says happened nearly 2 years ago. She sat down with Jerika Duncan.
44-year-old Karen Monahan says in September of 2016, she and her then-boyfriend, Minnesota Democratic Congressman Keith Ellison, got into a heated argument that scared her.
I was still in bed, and I was laying across the bed on my stomach. I was listening to my podcast, and he walked in. He said, "I need you to take the trash out." And I kept, because I was on my stomach, I heard him, and I just went like that and shook my head. And he looked at me, goes, "Hey, you hear me?" And then he looked at me, he goes, "Bitch, get the out of my house." And he started trying to drag me off the bed. That's when I put my camera on to video him.
Did you call anybody after that?
I called a friend, and I said, "I'm at the lowest of the low."
Monahan says she saved the video on her computer. This past Saturday, Monahan's 25-year-old son, Austin, posted a message on Facebook saying that in the middle of 2017, he found the video, almost 2 minutes long, showing Keith Ellison dragging his mother off a bed and telling her to get out of his house.
I'm mortified, absolutely stunned that she would say this.
Now, this is it's interesting. This story is pretty interesting, right? because I bet you haven't heard this much, right? I see CBS did a story on it, right? But you don't see it all over the media. Keith Ellison is running for Attorney General in his state, in Minnesota. And he's actually the deputy director or deputy whatever of the DNC. And you don't hear anyone caring about this, right? No one cares what happened to this lady. I thought the Democrats care about women's issues. What's going on? Are the Democrats really this hypocritical? Let's listen to this lady.
He met with me at a coffee shop closer to my place that evening before he ran for AG. The conversation went straight to, hey, you know, I noticed that you've been tweeting a lot, you know, and about, you know, abuse and the Me Too and, you know, over months talking about, you know, your own personal, you know, talking about, you know, your own same personal stuff about, you know, you. And, you know, I'm just wondering, are you going to keep tweeting about this? He goes, I don't want to have to look over my shoulder all the time wondering when you're going to tweet something and, you know, say it's me.
This is what Keith Ellison is saying to you.
Yes. At this point in time, I'm grounded and I know who I am. I have healed for a year and a half. I looked straight at him. I said, I never ruined your career. I didn't choose to do the things you did. I didn't choose for you to drag me off the bed, call me a tell me you hate me. I didn't choose that.
Why speak out now?
I followed my gut. The gut that I kept trying to push down for a year and a half. He met with me at a coffee shop.
I wonder how many of you are hearing this for the first time. Keith Ellison. Do we care about women or what? Are we going to take this lady's accusation seriously? She has her and her son accusing him of abuse. Are we going to take it seriously? Are the Democrats going to take it seriously? Is Dick Blumenthal going to call on Ellison to resign? Is he going to call on Ellison to resign from the race of Attorney General in his state? Is he going to call on him to resign from the DNC? Why aren't we hearing about this? This is the problem, people. This is the problem. That the Democrats could care less about women. They could care less about women issues. They only push all this stuff because they like to create victims. But when you have real victims that have been offended and abused by their side, they cover it up. They could care less. Where is it? Where is all the people calling on Keith Ellison to quit, to resign, to apologize? You're not going to find it because the Democrats are hypocrites. They don't care. The Democrats don't care. You're listening to breaking news, absolutely breaking the mainstream media, breaking it in half. With Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Cause you found a better one. I don't wanna let you fall away. I don't wanna let you fall away. Oh, I'm thinking about when we gon' touch. 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 When I'm up, I still ride for you. Only girl that I want is you. I ain't looking, but I still found you. Show you something others can't do. Oh, got me feeling no way when they say you the same ain't in their head. So don't go away, I ain't gonna let you go away. I'ma keep you right here to myself. I ain't trying to show no one else. We can keep it on the low, but you can still let them other niggas know. Tell me why you playing with it. I'm just trying to tell you I ain't playing with it. Them other niggas lying with it. I'ma show you that I ain't the same with it. I don't wanna let you fall away. I don't wanna go nowhere. Tell my lips to fall away, cause you found a better one. I don't wanna let you fall away. I don't wanna let you fall away. Oh, I'm thinking about when we gon' touch. 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 She said she got a new thing. The way she got me feeling got me dropping on my boot decks. I'm just trying to do things. Get you over here, I'ma show you what's a few things. She said she wanna roll, we can go anywhere that you wanna go. She said she wanna be next to me. Ain't no other place you rather be. Got me feeling up when I'm with you. Wanna feel you up when I'm with you. Feeling like a drive when I'm with you. Wanna where you up when I'm with you. And I ain't gonna lie, the way you got me feeling, I'ma take my time. And I ain't gonna lie, girl, you got me feeling your vibe. Oh, I don't wanna let you fall away. I don't wanna go nowhere. Tell my lips to fall away, cause you found a better one. I don't wanna let you fall away. I don't wanna let you fall away. Oh, I'm thinking about when we gon' touch. I'm thinking about when we gon' touch. I'm thinking about when we gon' touch.
All right, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, aka The Brave. We all remember Cory Booker's Spartacus moment, right? Spartacus himself, Cory Booker, right? let's listen to that moment, and then we'll continue from there.
I'm going to release the email about racial profiling. And I understand that the penalty comes with potential ousting from the Senate. And if Senator Cornyn believes that I violated Senate rules, I openly invite and accept the consequences of my team releasing that email right now. And I'm releasing it to expose that, number one, the emails that are being withheld from the public have nothing to do with national security. Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. My colleagues, numerous of them, said that they too accept the responsibility.
It's hilarious, right? So the reason he was releasing this email, which actually showed nothing against Kavanaugh, right? So it was just a political stunt because Kamala Harris had been basically the highlight of these hearings, and Cory was feeling left out, so he did his little Spartacus moment thing, right? But he did it in the name of transparency. He did it in the name of transparency. And even though, I don't hear Cory Booker saying that the FBI should release the FISA warrant and the unredacted, unredact a lot of the stuff that they've actually redacted from letting us, the public, see how the investigation into the Russian collusion into the Trump campaign happened. The Democrats don't want transparency there, and you have to wonder why. Because, they have Spartacus on their side. All right, Let's move on from that, but I want to stick with Cory Booker. Because it's important, because, you know, he's been thinking of running for president since he was a mayor in New Jersey, right? So, and they asked him this week whether he was thinking of running for president. He said, not considering running for president would be irresponsible, especially with having Trump as our president, right? So that's what Cory Booker said. But let's look back to Cory Booker, because Cory Booker wrote a column in 1992 detailing a groping incident in high school. Yeah, probably around Kavanaugh's age. And Cory Booker and his, you know, co-workers, the Congress and the Senate and all of these people are saying that Judge Kavanaugh should be disqualified from everything. And this is their belief system, right? This is their belief system. Because let's say the incident that the lady is saying happened, right? Even though Democrats are constantly talking about reform and rehabilitating people and looking at the life of Judge Kavanaugh himself, even if what the lady said actually happened, you can't say that that dictated his whole life and that he was a sexual deviant since then. Even though I'm not saying it happened, because there's no proof. She doesn't remember anything. And he is actually saying that it never happened. Okay? He's not wavering on the fact that it never happened. Right? But let's read this Cory Booker stuff. Now, this is interesting. In 1992, this is in the Washington Times. In 1992, a 1992 column by Senator Cory Booker detailing his groping of a high school friend has resurfaced as he pushes to delay Supreme Court nominee Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation hearings over a sexual assault allegation. In the 1992 column for the Stanford Daily, the Stanford University grad student, Mr. Booker, wrote about the New Year's Eve incident in 1984 that he will never forget in the column titled, "So Much for Stealing Second." Mr. Booker said he was 15 when he fondled an intoxicated female friend. With the Top Gun slogan ringing in my head, I slowly reached for her breast, he wrote. I'm going to stop there. So, Cory Booker is actually the person that they should be accusing, and Cory Booker should be resigning, according to the way they see things, right? According to their belief system. Cory Booker is the sexual deviant. Cory Booker actually wrote this article. He admitted to doing this. Judge Kavanaugh has never admitted to doing anything like that. And any woman that has come forward besides Dr. Blasey Ford has said he's always been the most respectful person. So you have to actually take the over 60 women who have come forward and said he's always been a gentleman, always been responsible, and throw their testimonies away to believe one person who doesn't remember anything. But how about Cory Booker? How about Cory Booker, who's considering running for president? Shouldn't we look at these people who are taking advantage of this accusation and using it as a political football? This is important, people. At least that's what I'm told. This is an important thing. We have to respect women. Let's respect women and get rid of Cory Booker. Let's respect Americans and get rid of Blumenthal. let me read for people who don't know about Senator Blumenthal. This is from the New York Times. Richard Blumenthal's words on Vietnam service differ from his history. At a ceremony honoring veterans and senior citizens who sent presents to soldiers overseas, Attorney General at the time in Connecticut, Attorney General Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, rose and spoke of an earlier time in his life. We have learned something important since the days that I served in Vietnam, Mr. Blumenthal said to the group gathered in Norwalk in March 2008. And you exemplify whatever we think about the war, whatever we call it. This is the thing, right? This is Senator Dick Blumenthal lying to everybody, lying to Connecticut. And we want him as a senator? Is this for real? Shouldn't he withdraw? He wasn't a teenager when he did this. Should we have people representing us like this? Yeah, I know. People are saying, now this is silly town, right? You're right. Because we have grown people. You have Blumenthal lying for political purposes. And nobody cares. Why is he still in his job? By his own standards, he should withdraw. You have a grown woman accusing Keith Ellison not of something he did 35, 36, 40 years ago, but actually something he did recently, a couple of years ago. And nobody cares. Because it doesn't serve the Democrat agenda. It doesn't serve their purposes. They only care about women when it's convenient to them. All right, people, I got to get out of here. It's been fun. You're listening to, or you've been listening to breaking news, absolutely breaking the news, breaking the mainstream media in half with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Be resolute of heart, make firm thy mind.
Catch me Monday at 2 p.m. Tune in. Facebook, Twitter, Periscope,
but the Lord of all
stream me, YouTube.
Cast not
we're everywhere.
Thy heart after riches. There's no ignoring
Have a good weekend.
Destiny. Place not thy thoughts on things outside. Every man is destined for his hour.
I'm feeling goods where all of your cash went. Not chakra alignment or inward refinement. Trying to find one word to describe men. Better yet, can one consciousness unify them? Pondering on these questions is where my time spent. Creative process, believe me, greatness got to achieve it. Ideas we believe in, positive mind, gotta reach in it. Putting effort to bring forth this new being. You're not consumed by the lust for things, but knows that his work is determined by words and deeds. Your mind is affected by words and deeds. Your thoughts are keys to what you're trying to see, and what you're trying to see should be to reach your goals. Hold on to your dreams, keys open doors. Since you can't always choose circumstances, make sure to choose your thoughts wisely. Choose advancement, move towards the future. Now's your chance, kid. Accept responsibility, abhor resentment. Actions always take root from what you think about. Things ain't going your way, it ain't hard to figure out. Why? Why? Ask why. Ain't gotta tell you, it's right in front of your eyes. So in following these principles, you'll find along the road you're the only one responsible for your soul. It's no coincidence. Take control of your life, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. You take control, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Yeah, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Nah, it's no coincidence.
Old shells are highly prized. And this one is occupied by a sarcastic fringehead.